We are currently at the coldest time of the year, with temperatures and the humidity at its lowest. Let's talk a little bit about the basics of humidity, the importance of it, and some different tools to help you manage and keep a nice comfortable house in the winter. Humidity can be measured in several different ways, whether that's relative humidity, absolute humidity, or dew point. When you turn on your local news or look at your local temperature gauge, that's referring to relative humidity. So I think one of the best visual ways to demonstrate what relative humidity is with a cup example here. Now the cup here is representing the temperature, the air temperature. The warmer the air is, the more water that air can hold. So if the temperatures went up, the cup would theoretically get bigger. And as temperatures drop, since the air is more dense, it can hold less water, the cup gets smaller. So in this example here, this water is the representation of the relative humidity. I would say this is about halfway, so we'll just say a 50% relative humidity. Now as the temperature starts going down, even though we have the same amount of water saturation in the air, and the temperatures drop, now it's more, 70% relative humidity. So what causes condensation to form on the windows? With nice warm comfy temperatures inside, 70 degrees, maybe 80 degrees if you overfire the stove, we theoretically should be able to hold quite a bit of moisture. However, glass or windows generally have a very poor R value, especially compared to the rest of your exterior walls. So as that nice warm air is moving around and coming in contact with that cold air right up against that glass, it's making that air colder, therefore it's condensing the amount of water that it can actually hold, reaching its 100% relative humidity, therefore creating the moisture or the dew on the windows. So a big key thing to help minimize something like that, if you can afford the upgrades, upgrade to some nicer, higher quality windows. And same goes with the rest of your house. If you really want to help control the humidity in your house, the less of that cold, dry air that's coming into your house is really going to help you maintain a much more comfortable humidity level. So having too much moisture in your house is not an ideal thing. Like I mentioned, you can start get condensation forming around your windows, get ice chunks forming there, holding a lot of moisture around your windows and potentially rotting out some of your windowsills, creating mold, mildew, enhancing dust mites. So not really the most ideal. On the other end of the spectrum, which is what more people tend to struggle with, is things getting too dry, especially with a lot of the moisture all being frozen, the air naturally being very dry at this time of year. And when things get like that, you run the risk of static shock, which can short out electronics. Really hard on the woodwork in your house, any furniture, trim, and if that stuff dries out too much, it can start cracking, checking, splitting, and once that happens, there's no bringing that back, and you're going to have to go and replace that stuff and get pretty expensive. Especially watch out for your acoustic guitars. Another thing, health reason why, it'll start drying out your hands, dry your nasal cavities, which you could end up with bloody nose, chapped lips. It's not the most ideal as well on the other end of the spectrum for your health. So this is something that's all very flexible based off of temperatures. So the way you want to adjust your indoor humidity really is based around the outdoor temperatures. Slides that I put up there showing the most ideal humidity ranges, I will put that in a PDF down in the description below just in case you want to download that, print it off, stick it by your humidifier or whatever. Hopefully it can help someone else out. Just arming yourself with a little bit of this information can really help you make some smart decisions and keep yourself sort of in that happy medium in between both sides. It really becomes apparent when you go look at a lot of reviews on humidifiers and you go look at a lot of the negative ones, the 1, the 2 stars, and majority of them are not really an issue with the product itself. It's more like they ran it and they started developing condensation on the windows or mold in the house, and just having a little bit of this knowledge can make a big difference. So in order to make accurate adjustments, you're going to need to know what your indoor humidity is. A lot of times you can get a temperature humidity station for relatively cheap, about $9 and up. I'll put a couple links to some pretty popular and well-rated ones down in the description below if you have any interest. A lot of times you can get them with different bells and whistles. You can monitor multiple locations, track both indoor and outdoor temperatures and humidity, and even set up an alerts when temperatures fall above or below certain values that you define. If you don't have one of these and are curious if your house is dry right now, one little trick you can do is fill up a glass of ice water and set that in an area that's not really very moist. Like, for example, keep it away from the kitchen, keep it away from the bathroom. Walk away, come back, check on it in about 3 minutes. You don't see any condensation forming on that glass, it's probably a little dry in your house. So a couple simple things you can do to help add moisture back into the air. Keep house plants around. A lot of moisture will come out of the soil as well as off the leaves of the plant. Just make sure you keep that plant well watered. If you're someone that likes to keep flowers around, you can put a vase in a nice sunny location. Shower with the door open. A lot of stovetop cooking can really help, especially if you're making soups. A lot of times when things get really busy in the fall, we have tomatoes coming out of our ears, we'll end up freezing those, coming back at a drier point of the winter, and then boiling those down to either make a tomato sauce or work on getting them canned. You can also add bowls of water to your registers. I've even seen some people where they take milk crates, flip them upside down over a vent, and then put a nice damp cloth on that, and as that air moves through there, it helps push some of the moisture back into the air. If you're someone that has a wood stove, you can get a steamer or a kettle type style that will go on top of your wood stove. They sell these in a variety of different sizes, so if you have a smaller size stove, you can definitely get smaller ones that will fit on top of that and quite a bit larger ones. I would recommend getting the largest one that you can, just so you're not having to continuously go in there and add more water. One other tip to go along with the wood stove, when you're bringing your firewood in, bring it in a little bit early and bring in a little extra. That dry air is going to help that wood dry out a little bit more, and of course, guess where that moisture is going? It's going to make for better burning fires and easier to light fires as well. Another thing you can do to help save a little electricity or gas, when you're doing your laundry, instead of throwing it in the dryer, get yourself an indoor clothes drying rack. And if you're still having problems, you might want to look into getting a humidifier. We put about an average of 2.5 gallons into the air each and every day. A little bit more as we get into the colder parts of the year, and less as we get more closer to the spring and the fall time. One of my morning rituals is when I'm getting ready to jump in the shower, I'm warming up that water. Instead of letting it all go down the drain, we keep a little 2-gallon bucket right where we keep our towels. I'll grab that, let that first runoff of water go into the bucket, then fill up the humidifier. That way I'm not getting caught where that thing's totally dry and had shut off. So there is a little bit of hidden maintenance that goes along with humidifiers. Oftentimes they have a wicking filter that needs to be swapped out from time to time. And if your water quality is not the best, maybe you have a little bit more iron content in your water, you might have to change those out a little bit more. There's several different varieties of sizes and features that come along with humidifiers. They have small ones that will take care of an individual room. You have portable ones that can take care of your entire house or a portion of your house. That's actually currently what we have, is one that has enough. It's a 6-gallon one that will put enough moisture into our entire house. However, if I could go back and turn back the clock a little bit and change, I would get the next step up, which has the ability to set your humidity, and it will shut off once that humidity is reached. Right now we just have a fan setting, and we can set the amount of moisture that we want to put in the air. We spend a lot of time monitoring that as well. Also, the next step up from that is going to a whole house type system that bolts into your ductwork. We do have a wood furnace that pushes our wood heat through all the ducts and helps distribute that heat really nicely through the house, so we have a nice even heat. And with some of those ones that bolt in, they have a water line that runs to that, and then you can set your humidity and it will shut or add water or not add water based off of your settings. They even have some that will monitor the outside temperatures, so you can have a very hands-off approach, and it will make adjustments as needed as well. One thing I would suggest doing is keeping an eye out for these things in the fall and the springtime if you can. The prices definitely drop quite a bit. When we originally bought ours, the price was probably about half the price of what they currently are going for in the store, because we bought it in an off-season time frame. So if you're looking at something like that and you can afford to wait, try to wait for a period of time where the prices drop. The price difference between something like what we have and one of the in-house ones really isn't all that much. The one we have, I think, averages about $100. In order to go to a whole house one that connects into the ductwork, I see those about $150 to $200 range. However, there probably is a little bit of cost getting the plumbing line hooked up and getting electricity connected to it. So that might be something to think about. If you have ductwork, you can have a very hands-off approach. I'll put a link to a couple popular, well-rated ones down in the description below as well. Humidity can really make a big difference in the comfort of your home, the health of your family and pets, and just the longevity of your house. Think about the summer months. You know, you might have one day where it's really humid out. That day just feels a lot more unbearable because of that humidity. Same goes the other way. There's definitely been times where we have the temperature relatively high in our house. It just doesn't feel all that warm until we start adding some moisture back in and things start feeling a lot more comfy and cozy. So I really hope this video helps someone out, getting a little better understanding of humidity, the importance of it, and some things that you can do to make some adjustments. Hopefully you can find the right solution and make a nice, smarter decision based off this video. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.